the UN Development Programme's representative in Turkiye. Welcome to the program, Louisa. We know some of Turkiye's quake-hit regions contain artefacts dating back many centuries. Tell us more about the UNDP initiative to help protect these treasures. How will it work?
Thanks. Thanks for having me on the program. And just as a reminder, before we get into cultural heritage, that there are still 2.6 million people in this region who are living in tents or containers or other informal accommodations. So we need to remember that the human needs come first. But we're very concerned about the cultural heritage as well, because we see this window closing of a time to protect these treasures. They're often exposed to the elements and to predations of various kinds. So we're trying to move in. And just to note at the start that as we've seen with the human cost, the cost in terms of the region's invaluable heritage has been huge, and that there are around 11,000 monuments and other treasures in the region. And an early assessment of the damage showed that 60% of these treasures had experienced damage of some kind. So there's a huge need. We're obviously starting very small with 20 containers. It's a modest effort, but we have real hopes to get much bigger. So there are a number of needs that we see urgently needing addressing. One is, there's a huge effort now underway to clear away the rubble that resulted from the collapse of so many structures in the region, and just an unimaginable amount of debris. The government has been very swift to move that. Our concern is not to confuse the rubble from apartment buildings and other cement structures that need to be carted away and then hopefully recycled, but to prevent the priceless relics that may have collapsed in this earthquake from also being removed. So there's a need to slow down, to mark off, for example, the ancient part of Antakya city, and then to go sift through and discard what should be discarded and protect what can be protected. And this is an initiative that can also employ people. We see huge unemployment now after the earthquake. So this is one initiative we would like to support very much. With the containers, we're just providing a holding place, a safe holding to safeguard these relics so that they can be properly restored. That will take time, and that will also take funding. So we're also mobilizing, and we'll soon announce publicly, this is the first time we're mentioning it to the media, a crowdfunding campaign that will go global. We see a huge desire internationally for people to support. And we think that people will really want to support the cultural heritage of this region, which is so rich. As you said, it goes back 12,000 years. It's really an unimaginable expanse of civilization. So we will be mobilizing funding in this fashion internationally to move to the restoration phase. So there's a lot of work ahead, but with these containers, we're very, very happy to have started, at least with something that can help safeguard these relics, priceless relics, temporarily.
As you say, the human needs of the survivors of these terrible earthquakes is first and foremost in everyone's mind. But tell us more about why it is so important to preserve these historical artefacts and the region's cultural heritage, because in fact the two can go hand in hand, can't they? Meeting the human needs with the protection and the revival of the cultural heritage.
Yeah, I think this is part of this, man does not live by bread alone adage that, culture is very important to life. So, but I would say three main reasons. Obviously the human needs come first, but that this is a specific region that is really an unbelievable treasure house going back so many centuries. And so many different civilizations are represented in the same space, so that, I had the great pleasure of visiting Antakya, Hatay, and other parts of the region many times before the earthquake. And in one day, you can see, a 3,000-year-old statue of a Hittite king. You can go to one of the first Christian churches. You can go to the first mosque in Anatolia. You can see a synagogue in operation. You can see an Armenian church in operation, all in the same space at the same time. So it's a huge mosaic, a cultural mosaic, alongside the many Roman mosaics that you're displaying on the screen now. So it's a treasure house not just for Türkiye, but for the world. And it's a treasure house that shows the potential of cultural coexistence in one space. So that's one reason, an obvious reason reason why we need to rebuild. But there's a second economic reason where, cultural heritage is a big contributor to tourism, and there's lots of industries that also build on tourism and the specific identity of a local region. So there are, Hatay is famous for its handmade Hatay shoes. We want to rebuild that as well, and that will create jobs and livelihoods that will bring people back to the region. But the third reason I think is really important at a time when so many people are traumatized, are sad, are really grieving for so much loss, is that culture is part of our identity. It's what gives us spirit, what gives us meaning for life. So we feel that as soon as we start to help in the reconstruction of, say, the old city of Antakya, or we shouldn't forget, this is more than Hatay and Antakya. This is a huge region with a vastly diverse culture. But as soon as people see those monuments going back up exactly as they were, I think people will feel more of a momentum towards recovery and that there is a hope for a better tomorrow. So we are very much on the side of the human needs of the moment, but not to lose the opportunity to protect the cultural heritage that gives us meaning to our everyday lives.
Okay, Louisa Vinton from the UNDP. We'll have to leave it there, but best of luck with your work, and thank you so much again for joining us on TRT World.
Thank you for having me.